Welcome back to Pattrn. A Montana judge has ruled in the country's first constitutional climate case, and it's a big win for environmentalists. And now the decision will have ripple effects for other climate cases across the U.S.
Now, what's really amazing is this case was brought by 16 children and young adults. Eva Lighthizer is one of those young plaintiffs, and Andrea Rogers is a senior litigation attorney with our Children's Trust. They join us now. Thank you both so much for being with us. Now, Eva, I want to start with you. What drove you to participate in this lawsuit, and how old were you at the time?
I originally got involved when I was 13. The case was filed on my 14th birthday, and I really wanted to be involved because I cared deeply for the environment and was really worried about my future.
So, Eva, talk to me a little bit more about that. You're in Montana. What things did you see that made you worried and made you feel like, I have to participate in this? This is something that's really important to me.
Well, from about the age of 10 or 11, I started seeing a lot more wildfire smoke in the summers, which really worried me because the air quality was a lot worse, and it made recreating outdoors and just getting along with daily life a lot trickier. And I also experienced some flooding in my preteens that was really worrisome.
Andrea, what were the factors you think that actually helped you guys win this case?
Yeah, well, I think the most important part was that this case went to trial, which means that the plaintiffs like Eva got to tell their story in open court, including subject to cross-examination. So the judge was really able to understand how these young people are being so severely impacted by their government's conduct with respect to the permitting of fossil fuels. And the other thing that was important is Eva and her fellow plaintiffs were supported by some of the world's top climate scientists, energy experts, pediatricians, and others who were able to explain what the best available science says with respect to how young people are being disproportionately impacted by the effects of climate change.
So, Eva, let's talk a little bit more about that, because it's you and a group of your peers that are involved in this lawsuit. What were the types of things that you guys noticed as a group? And then what would your message be to other kids your age or other young adults that are having these same concerns?
Well, I think as a group, we all noticed just how during trial, it was really wonderful to see how attentive the judge was. And just, it was really cool to see how our entire side of the case was presented. And I think for a message to all of the other young people out there who are worried about climate change, I guess I would just say, stay hopeful. There's a lot going on right now, and it's really scary, but there is progress happening. And yeah, just stay hopeful.
Andrea, what impact could this win have on other environmental cases, do you think?
Well, most significantly in Montana, the judgment enjoins the state from taking any action under the statutes that were found to be unconstitutional, which includes the law that the legislature passed to ignore consideration of greenhouse gas emissions and climate change when issuing fossil fuel permits. So that's an immediate effect of the decision specifically within the state of Montana. But nationwide and worldwide, this decision will be cited as legal precedent for the notion that young people do have a right to a stable climate system that sustains their lives and liberties. Importantly, the court ruled that the Montana right to a clean and healthful environment, which is an explicit constitutional right preserved by the state constitution, includes that right to a life-sustaining climate system. But she also recognized that other rights under the Constitution, including young people's rights to dignity, health, safety, and happiness, and equal protection under the law, are also invoked by government conduct that causes climate change. So that kind of holding and decision will really resonate throughout the world in terms of the climate change cases that are being litigated today. And importantly, this case shows that climate change trials are manageable. It's taken a long time for young people to be able to have their voices heard in open court. And I think Judge Seeley's decision shows that judges can understand scientific evidence, they can understand the testimony of young people, and they can apply those facts to traditional standards of constitutional law. And that's what this case shows, and I think it will be cited as precedent, not only in this country, but around the world as well.
Yeah, such a big deal to see that shift. Eva Lighthizer and Andrea Rogers, thanks so much for joining us today. You know, we talk about it all the time. All it takes is kind of one shift in the direction of those decisions, and you start to see big changes being made.
Yeah, the biggest thing that I get out of this is how young they were, you
Yeah.
know, and it's like young people, they really rule and they really are our future. And, you know, if you're watching this, you're a young person, get out there, do what you need to do. And if you're old, get out there and do what you need to do as well.
Exactly.